Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Turning Heel podcast. I am your host, Eric, joined as always by my co host, Mike. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. We are back and better than ever. It's been a minute. I know, gosh, it's probably been about a month, maybe longer.
Probably. Yeah.
I know I was sick for 2 weeks. I was
Right.
definitely down for the count, and then last week, of course, with Halloween. And in case you can't notice, I still have that nagging cough. It's fun.
It sounds it.
Oh, it's been a blast. This last month has been fantastic.
Yes.
But make no excuses, we are back, and man, things. So I've been wanting to talk to you about how things have been going currently in WWE. There seems to be a lot of rumblings, and I just wanted to jump right into this. The Cody Rhodes title reign. There seems to be a growing number of people who are unhappy with the current title reign. I don't get it. I'm enjoying it. Wonder what your take is.
To each their own.
Sure.
Um, one thing that I've enjoyed this title reign,
Mhm.
and also based upon Crown Jewel,
Yeah.
that was their defining moment, I think, for him to main event, beat the other champion clean,
Yeah.
and that was their stamp to say, this is our guy now. This is who we're moving in the future with.
Yeah.
Cody's the next John Cena, next Roman Reigns. He's the next generational star.
I agree.
And that was just kind of like their way of telling us that. And it's like all the other stars. Some reigns are better than others.
Sure.
I mean, not every one of John Cena's 16 title reigns was mesmerizing. Same with Ric Flair. I mean,
Sure.
some stinker reigns. Everyone has ups and downs. And the problem is that what I think SmackDown has become the Bloodline saga,
Yeah.
and they've kind of gotten away from the whole Cody. Cody's kind of had the bit of background, even though he's the champion.
Yeah, it's funny that because that's definitely the main story right now on SmackDown is the bloodline.
That's the main story in all of
It's
WWE.
really, yeah, it's really the whole main story in all WWE, overshadowing both the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship.
Exactly. I mean, how they've had new champions because of it.
Mhm.
They've done a lot. So,
What was your take on the Jey Uso? Really, what 3-week title reign as Intercontinental Champion?
all they did was move the storyline with it.
And I'm okay with that aspect. I thought it was good that he was Intercontinental Champion when Roman came back and was talking to him. He does the whole, that he's proud of him. And I thought that was important for that story that the Jay beat Intercontinental Champion for that part.
Right.
And then lose it thanks to Solo and the 2.0 bloodline or the Timu bloodline, as I've seen them put on certain social medias. Which it's funny. It's a funny little take on them, but
it's funny, but it's kind of like, really, you're calling the Gorillas of Destiny Timu version of
yeah, those were some bad Tongans. I would I want to keep my words soft and sweet about them because you never know when they might show up at like an AXW show and just be like, "Hey, aren't you the guys of the podcast who've been talking smack?"
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure that could happen.
I'm sure that could happen.
Or just on the off chance that Haku could freaking hear that. I want no parts of that.
No,
I don't want that smoke.
no, no.
Because that dude would straight up mess some people up. He's a guy who, if like this was, you know how they always say, if this was real,
Right.
they would win. Like Haku, Harley Race, like those two would win any real fight. Well,
Right.
I mean, it's not for like Brock Lesnar, who obviously was in real fighting, Ken Shamrock,
Right.
Nick Hager,
Yeah.
Bobby
But
Lashley too.
I think based upon their time frame, yeah, Haku and Harley in their respective time frames. Yeah.
Right. So, speaking of some of those legitimate fighters, one of the guys I just mentioned recently changed promotions. Bobby Lashley signing with AEW. So, how long before we will see him on Collision or on Rampage? Jerking the curtain with like the Dark Order.
Yeah, pretty soon.
Yeah.
um, um, I kind of think that's like the land of the lost at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
I was really hoping Shane McMahon was going to go there, maybe help give them some direction.
the fact that one of the biggest stars of our generation retired from full time in ring,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they just laid it out at the end of that pay per view was ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, the whole Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club going so dark and so evil, like, and the way that they're just ransacking the locker room, like, it delegitimizes the rest of the locker room.
correct.
Because this is 4 dudes are basically just taking out your whole locker room.
Correct.
Now I know this kind of reeks of NWO. And how long before they start adding members? I'm sure that's going to happen soon.
It is just ridiculousness with
All I know is if Darby Allin starts standing up in the bleachers and, has a baseball bat on him at all time, I'm going to be like, look, man, like, I don't need you to have a 1.5 year long build to Darby Allin versus John Moxley.
right. I mean, we're getting Moxley against Orange Cassidy for the world title at Full Gear.
And the thing is, like, I liked the promo that Orange Cassidy did. Like, I thought actually it was a pretty good and heartfelt promo, which I didn't think would get a good heartfelt promo out of Orange Cassidy because that's not his thing. In fact, his thing is he doesn't talk.
Right. I am just I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Of that.
I want to buy into it, but I'm having a real hard time.
It's frustrating.
Orange Cassidy versus
They're 2 good guys. They're going to be the guys who stand up to John Moxley and the Death Riders.
So now that's what they're called, the Death Riders. They're not the Blackpool Combat Club anymore.
They've trademarked that name, and it's going to be the Death Riders now.
I mean, if you think about it, that probably should have changed the name since the Blackpool Combat Club, the only one from Blackpool, isn't in the Blackpool Combat Club anymore.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he's not even with the company anymore. He's with WWE now.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
William Regal?
Yes.
Which that man has forgotten more about wrestling than just about anybody else will ever see or meet.
Right. And it was interesting seeing him as the corner man for Lexus King.
I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that little aspect. Now, I sit there And wrestling is not the enjoyment right now.
Okay.
To me, Monday Night Raw is just,
It feels like a chore watching it.
it feels like a chore. Yes, it's drudgery. It's no interest, like when you watch Raw.
Yeah.
NXT is by far the brand I enjoy the most right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
I think the excitement in the ring,
How about
the
WWE?
the just the programming, everything's so good. Then you get, by the time you get to Wednesday and it's Collision, it's like, what's
Or Dynamite. Yeah.
Dynamite? Excuse me. What
You're forgetting about WWE.
I'm talking. It's what else can they pull out of their asses to show?
Yeah.
Then you get to Thursday with Ring of Honor and TNA. And you're like, wait a minute, Ring of Honor is supposed to be AEW's second brand, but that program's better than Dynamite the night before most times.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yeah.
And then TNA is just amazing at this point.
Is TNA the hottest brand in wrestling right now?
I think so. And
I
then you
know.
get SmackDown, and it's too much bloodline.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's just get to War Games and let's just figure out, let's just do what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then Collision, I think I've said it many times, is a better show than Dynamite.
Yeah. But what about Rampage? We got the Rampage on Friday nights too. Very easily skippable. Yeah.
Rampage does nothing. Rampage literally, unless it's that Royal Rampage that they do once a year, you can legitimately not watch Rampage
I'm a unicorn.
and you don't miss anything. You might get a title match every so often. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. Like I probably haven't watched Rampage in a good month and a half, and I don't feel like I've missed anything.
Yeah, I literally, other than the Royal Rampage,
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to tell you when I sat down and watched a whole hour of it.
I can tell you it's been a while. Last time I had it on, I sat here and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna watch everything I'm interested in on Rampage, and I'll just skip over anything that I'm not. I skipped over the entire show. I didn't watch a single match.
Yeah. It's
I watched some of the backstage segments and I thought they were kind of funny, but
right. It's just, it's very missable.
yeah.
And I'm wondering to see what Netflix is going to do with Raw to spike up interest.
Does it kind of feel like to you the way it felt like to me in that prelude in 2016, once they announced that they were going to do a draft and I just had come to terms with it? Like that, like 3 or 4 week build up between like when they announced it and when the draft was, it felt like Raw and SmackDown just sucked. Like there was nothing going on, and they were just waiting for the brand draft.
I really think that's,
And I feel like that's where we're at right now.
kind of where we're at with Netflix. But if
We're just waiting for that to happen.
If I was someone in Netflix right now, I'd be hitting the button, the panic button. Because
Apparently, they've told WWE they expect Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, like the main players, to be a part of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Like they expect it, and they like basically are demanding it.
honestly, what I would do if I were them would be, you need new champions.
Well,
if I was Netflix. As,
Mhm.
as, as much as I love Gunther, people
Yeah.
talk about Cody Rhodes' title reign being underwhelming. I don't
Yeah.
think
What has Gunther even done? Like
what
as
has
champ?
Gunther done since he's won the title? He defended against Randy Orton. Now
And
we're
I
going
feel
to
like
have,
that was an underwhelming match. I
yeah,
really was not entertained by it.
especially for the two guys in the match.
Right.
They just didn't bring it. Braun Breaker is the IC champion. I do enjoy.
Sure.
Um, and then you look at the other champions.
The World Tag Team Champions, the Judgment Day. I mean, whatever. Like, I feel like they should lose to the War Raiders.
They really should.
Yeah, and I really hope they do.
And then your women's world heavyweight champion.
Hey, don't you disparage the good name of Liv Morgan.
No, it's not right now.
Seriously, what has she been doing on that show?
Sean?
I mean, aside from making out with Dirty Dom, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
That's his girl, Mike.
And then
Dirty Dom?
at least I will give Jade and Bianca this title reign. At least they're taking the titles to every brand,
Right.
and on every brand with it. And Crown Jewel, we had a fatal four-way with the challenger from each brand.
Yes, and I enjoyed that. Yeah.
I thought that was something unique and different, and I enjoyed that match.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have enjoyed seeing a new tag team champions? Of course,
Sure.
but I get why we have to have Jade and Bianca as the tag champs, and we're going to need to have that for a little bit longer because of Jade being so green
Yeah.
on the main roster.
Agreed. And I'm fine with Bianca being there to kind of help,
Right.
show her the ropes and get her through some of these growing pains.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think it's
enjoy, some new women's tag team champions.
Sean.
I'd be fine with any number of teams taking the belt. Do you think that there would be something added by having one of them be a double champion and then having that belt be able to then be defended on all brands as well? So, like, if Bianca were to win the women's world title and then she could defend it on any of the brands, like,
I don't see a benefit in having a double champion, right?
okay.
Because
Because my only thought is then that just brings you have more challengers for the women's world title. Then you can go because she's also a tag team champion. She could then go to SmackDown and defend it on SmackDown as well.
I guess, or you could just beefing up the Raw women's roster, which is very low right now.
I would agree. They really should. And they took Rhea Ripley out. I guess Rhea's got a real injury, and that's sad. I mean, especially this close to War Games, she was going to be, I imagine, a big component for the women's War Games match.
Right. And now they're kind of just scrapping, I guess, to figure out what they're going to do.
Well, if you're incorporating members of NXT for the Survivor Series, I say just go with the 10 women tag that we had on NXT this past week. Put them in War Games and just there you go.
That would work.
Yeah.
That would work.
And if you really want to, you could have Liv Morgan defend the women's world title against who won that battle royal? Io Sky.
Io Sky.
Sure.
Which hopefully we get a title change with this. But I'm not holding my breath.
No, I kind of think that Liv Morgan's holding the women's world title to WrestleMania. Whether it be Rhea Ripley winning the women's Royal Rumble or a returning Becky Lynch becoming a 2-time Rumble winner and then challenging Liv Morgan. Although I'd really like to see her go and challenge for the WWE Women's Championship, whether it be Nia Jax or Tiffany Stratton,
Right.
and have Rhea Ripley take on Liv Morgan finally in a straight up clean one-on-one match. Like, although at this point I don't even care anymore.
Ice cream.
Like, you know me, I'm the biggest Liv Morgan fan there could be, but I wanted
Yes.
that legit match.
Ice cream.
Might as well get her juice now. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. I wanted. They needed to have that clean match at some point, and I didn't think it should happen at SummerSlam. SummerSlam, I thought the big story was going to be the Dominic Mysterio, and but
Mike.
when Dominic was in the shark cage at Bad Blood, I thought that should have been when Rhea Ripley won the women's world title.
Yeah.
She's not helping. She can do it.
It was just when they had Raquel come out, I'm just like, seriously, like, we're really gonna do this?
I mean, if you think about it, Raquel's kind of playing the Diesel role, and Liv Morgan the Shawn Michaels role, and it's kind of an homage to that time. Although, man, Shawn Michaels and Diesel made that way more interesting than Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez have.
I mean, I just think I think a lot of it is there's nothing for the Judgment Day at this point.
Now it's time to just break up the Judgment Day
As a whole group,
Yeah.
it's stupidity
Mommy.
at this point. It's
I would enjoy like a Damian Priest running the gauntlet and just saying like, okay, I'm gonna
You what?
beat every member of the Judgment Day like in a gauntlet match,
right,
and if he wins, then the Judgment Day must disband.
right.
Like, just break them up, like call it a day. Just it was a failed experiment. Like,
Ever
just
since
move on from it.
it went downhill.
Yeah,
Like, let Finn Balor get back to being a killer. Like, let him get back to being the badass that he always was.
right.
Like right now, he just looks like a putz. And he looks like just somebody who can't hold it. He can't hold his own in a fight with Damian Priest.
Right.
And he's supposed to be just as good as Priest.
If not better.
Yeah, if not better. He was the first Universal Champion.
Right.
Granted, I know that belt's dead now, but that should still matter.
It is no longer that belt. It had a
But-
short.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you know, the fact that they didn't take the belt and defend it on other planets like a world champion does all around the world, you know, Universal Champion should have defended it on other planets. That would have been a cool thing.
It would have.
Now, I mean, how the hell could you even do that? But which is why that belt was so stupid to begin with.
Right.
Should have just said SmackDown World Champion, Raw World Champion.
And been done.
Yeah.
But hey, they have.
But now I'm going back 8 years in my revisionist history.
Right. And it was such a the WWE universe. The WWE universe. Such a buzzword.
Yeah, they really crammed that down our throats.
They crammed that down our throats. So the Universal Champion made perfect sense back then.
Sure. Well, so I guess let's talk a little bit about this bloodline thing. Obviously, Sami Zayn, we all know he didn't actually mean to kick Roman in the face. I'm sure that's going to get blown over on Friday night.
I just hope that Friday night the original bloodline's in the ring and then the new bloodline comes out to attack them.
Yeah.
And I just hope we either get it would make sense it being Nick Aldis because it's his show. He is the general manager.
Right.
Just comes out and yells war games. Or for the moment, no one else can do it like him.
Regal.
Bring out Regal. And just have Regal yell War Games. And just get the fans going.
Well, what would be cool is if you saw like earlier in the show, Nick Aldis is sitting there, and maybe either he's on the phone, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that would be perfect. You should definitely come in," and like nobody knows what's going on and who he's talking to. And then at the end of the night, that's when you see Regal come out. Well, Nick Aldis comes out like as they're fighting and just kind of does the whole. And then say as he walks away, out comes Regal, and he just takes the microphone and just goes, "War Games."
I think that would be a fitting moment.
Yes,
But
I think that would be fantastic.
one of the two of them just has to yell War Games tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree, and that would be fantastic.
I think so.
So I think that the fifth member of Bloodline 2.0 should be The Rock.
Okay.
Who do you think should be the fifth member of the originals?
I don't know.
To me there's two names that could easily slide right in. And I know that they're both either currently under contract or rumored to be under contract with WWE. Hikuleo,
Right.
and the other one being AXW alum Nick Anoa'i.
Lance.
Or Lance Anoa'i. Yeah, I don't know why I said Nick.
And I mean, it could be either one.
Yeah.
The other thing that it could very well be, we still need Paul Heyman to come back.
Yes, we do.
So maybe The Rock comes out. There's a 5-on-4 match. And then Paul Heyman comes out, does his ladies and gentlemen. Fans go wild. And then he says, "I've got another surprise." And they play the Cult of Personality.
Ooh. CM Punk comes out.
Right.
You know, he is a Paul Heyman guy.
Yes. So that would work too.
It would work. I would enjoy that. Yeah, if CM Punk joins the Bloodline in War Games.
And it just has to be one match.
Yeah.
And then you can have the whole Punk versus the Bloodline dynamic. So
Sure.
it would work for a night. But I really think it would make sense if he's under contract, which he is, would be Hikuleo.
Yeah. Yeah, Hikuleo is a lot. He's a lot more established.
Right. And then that would add to the story, because then it would be, hey, you won against us and you got the Tongans. Well, now we got the Tongans' brother to join us.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, that would be appropriate.
That would be appropriate.
So, and I was thinking about it as we get closer to WrestleMania season. And to me, it's very clear that the headline, if not of night 2, at least of night 1, although actually I think it will be night 2, Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania. What other matches might we see? Could we see? Now, I know we've talked about possibly the Usos versus the Gorillas of Destiny, which I would absolutely love that matchup.
You know what?
It would have to. It's going to be an interesting card. I'm wondering where they're going to go.
Can I make a prediction?
Yes, absolutely.
Gunther versus John Cena.
Gunther, John Cena. I would love to see it. I know I've said on record that I think John Cena should win the Royal Rumble and should headline WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes, and I think that would be a fantastic match. I now think whoever, like, just right now, like, what is this, November 7th, I am currently saying I think whoever John Cena faces at WrestleMania, he's putting over.
Yeah.
Because I think he just realizes the value in him putting over the younger talent, whoever that is,
Right.
over him just wanting that big nostalgia moment.
Yes.
57.
Yeah, I think that will be probably a big bone of contention because I'm sure there's going to be guys on the creative team. They're going to say, hey, we want this big nostalgia John Cena pop for him winning a championship or him beating whoever.
Right.
And John Cena is going to say, no, this is my last time. I should do what every older veteran has to do. I got to put over the young guy.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen.
Right. Because I know that was a big debate, like going back to WrestleMania 35 when Kurt Angle was retiring.
Right.
Supposedly Corbin wanted to do the job for Kurt Angle.
Right.
But Kurt insisted, no, he is the he's the guy on the way out. He's got to do the favors for the guy on the way. And I think Corbin was actually right, but
Right. Yeah, I think so in that circumstance.
What?
yeah.
That Kurt Angle should have won his retirement match. Baron Corbin was not a good
No, and I think Corbin even knew that.
right for that match.
I mean, he tried to take it and tried to make it mean something. Like, God bless him.
He tried. but-
Yeah. It wasn't going to work. He was put in a bad spot.
So
Yeah.
Corbin's last match was against
and Kurt Angle's last match was against Baron Corbin.
Yeah, WrestleMania 35.
Right.
What did you get?
Which, how about SummerSlam coming to MetLife? This is actually, I guess, is our first chance to talk about that on air. That's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, that'll be
First
fun.
first two nights SummerSlam in
Yes.
MetLife.
Yes, it should be an interesting one. What did he?
What's that?
I think I'm gonna have to cut the show because I think it's getting time for the kids to go to bed.
Yeah, it's getting time for me too. So I was figuring we were probably going to do a short show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for hanging in with us. Anybody watching, obviously, I guess you'll be watching on a rerun here. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It only takes a second for you, but it means the world to us. Be sure to check out all our other Philly Sports Alliance shows. I'd love to bring up the graphic, but budget cuts, we are not able to. So we will have to see what we can do in the future about that. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. See you next week. Mike, anything to add before we get out of here?
No, I think we covered what we could for the short amount of time we had tonight.
Yeah, I think it was a short but productive show.
Yes.
Everybody have a great night. And don't forget to check out your local wrestling AXW show on Saturday at doors open at 4:45 in Orangeburg? Orangeburg, yeah.
Yeah.
Check that out. We'll be there. And happy wrestling, everybody.